Art, I just want to say that I'm new to you, and I'm so proud that you are doing what you're doing, that there's a place, that there's a voice that we can hear that is just focusing on what's really going on.
Well, thank you.
And thank you. And I want to touch on three things. I'm going to be real quick. I'll share this with you. I have 2 different passports plus a green card. And I was recently robbed, and I had to go and get my state ID back. Now, I got my state ID originally 4 years ago. And when I went to get it back, they have now added something to the form in New York City, which makes you divulge whether you have ever had a Canadian driver's license, if you have an active one, and it makes you put down your driver's license number on this form.
Well, right now, Canada is enforcing a new ID system where if you take the new ID card, I think they're going to be issuing them on June 1st. No, I understand that. But right now, they're trying to blur the line. They're trying to create this North American Union. So if you take your RFID, national ID card in Canada, then you won't have to wait in the border. You'll just have your thing. Oh, you got your card? Go ahead. And they're going to do the same thing in Mexico and America. They want to integrate this into a new system. And that was exposed in the Security and Prosperities Partnership Agreements. Why don't you speak to that really quickly there, Alan?
Yes, and also the EU have said that they have a central computer with all the data of Canadians and the U.S. citizens who have that card. So it is, in actual fact, it's your international ID card.
Exactly.
It even said that in it. It could go under the guise of a license. It didn't matter. It is the international ID card.
Exactly. Ann, what else you got for me?
It's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we know it's here.
That's the frightening part. You know, and I'm just so glad you're alerting more and more Americans. And this bill, H.R. 875, how realistic is that? I mean, I've sent letters to the New York Times, to Eden Foods, to every organic group that I can think of, and any response I've gotten back from organic farmers is that they've never even heard of this.
Well, that's absolutely correct. They haven't heard of it, and they're keeping it on the low, but it's as real as it gets. They always talk about it after they've passed some kind of legislation towards it. They have programmed us to think that GMO foods are going to save us, and you don't need organic farming. In fact, organic farming is bad because it doesn't go through the proper processes, and that's the reason we have swine flu and bird flu outbreaks and people are unhealthy. Meanwhile, these GMO foods are set out to destroy our immune systems, to really hurt us, to sterilize us. Speak to that, Alan.
There's no doubt about it. I read from their own articles, the big players, on depopulation agendas. I keep asking the public, what do you think they mean by that? Just a wish list of things they'd love to do at Christmas time and Santa Claus would that. They actually implement them. You cannot ask for volunteers, so you simply implement them. And you're quite right with the GMO food. I mean, look at all the guys behind Obama. He's even got guys there who work for Monsanto on his staff there, and in fact they put the bills forward for this particular one. And we've had it from the Economic Union, we've had it from Britain, from all the prime ministers. They want the GMO to be the sole ruler, basically, food-wise for the whole planet. That's the way it's been mandated. That's why no one can sue Monsanto anywhere. That's why doors open for Monsanto and judges know to leave them alone. It's a must-be, because as far as I'm concerned, you see, food comes under military-industrial complex. It's the oldest trick in the book. Control the food or the water, you control the people. Therefore, Monsanto is part of the military-industrial complex.
Absolutely. And Ann, I hope you look into Codex Alimentarius. There's a lot of scary things within that. I thank you for the call. Let's jump to Johnny in Indiana. Johnny, you're on the line. Yes, sir.
Hello, Jason. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I wanted to comment about the Ashton Lumby case.
Okay.
It's here in my town in South Bend, Indiana, and I heard about it on your show, and I became actively involved in her case. And I brought it to the attention of all my media outlets, and it created such an outcry that the U.S. attorney had to respond with it with a press release.
And what did they say?
They downplayed it. They commented on the charges, and I talked to Annette at least 3 times a day since I heard about the case. And they commented on what he was being charged with, and they said that she had access to her child, but never bothered to go see him.
And, again, I've got to know more about this case, but I don't think it's right that you come in the middle of the night, you pick up a 16-year-old kid because of a supposed bomb threat. The kid seems to have an alibi. The mother's telling a different story from what the authorities are telling. Time will tell whether this pans out or not. And, I encourage people to go check into it themselves. Let's jump to Bill in What do we got? Bill in Connecticut? You're on the air.
Yeah, Connecticut.
Yep.
What you doing, Jason?
How you doing, sir?
Good. Hey, couple things pertaining to HR 875. I was just trying to find it here because I was going to email it over to you, but I actually got a response back from Jim Himes pertaining to that because Rose, what's her name? De La Rosa or Rosa?
I think De La Rosa,
Rosa DeLauro was the woman who turned around and put that out. And I thought it was interesting because in his response, he was basically saying that she was not married to one of the guys that actually works at Monsanto. His name's Greenberg.
But she is married to this guy, right? Hold over on the other side. We'll be back after this. It's the Alex Jones Show. We're with Alan Watt, cuttingthroughthematrix.com.
Where you used to play. It was an inside job by the well-connected.
All right, folks, we are back. It's the Info Warrior with Jason Bermas. I'm just kidding. It's the Alex Jones Show, but I do a show called that, and I'll be live on the air tonight, 9 to midnight. We're going to be going over a bunch of news. We just got one of the census forms, so I'm going to be hitting that up. I missed so much today, including, let me see, what did I miss? 666, Goldman's latest bonus bears the mark of the beast. Claus vetoes Czech Republic approval of the Lisbon Treaty. Protein Sciences enter deal to run vaccine factory in Mexico, and much, much more, including this Web 2.0 summit that I wanted to talk about today as well. We've got Alan Watt of cuttingthroughthematrix.com on the line, and Bill, continue.
Anyway, I just emailed that to Rob D. So I emailed you the copy of the letter that I had gotten from Jim Himes. But he was basically sitting there saying that, he doesn't, he's going to vote this down, so on and so forth. But he actually did address that thing in there pertaining to her husband. I called his office.
Well, whether they're related or not, this is a bad bill. We should be able to grow our own. Oh, it's an awful bill. You're right. It's off the charts awful, and we do need to oppose it. I thank you for the call, Bill. Alan, what are your closing thoughts on this bill? I mean, a lot of people are obviously concerned. We don't want Monsanto in charge of our food consumption, do we?
No, but I think, to be honest with you, it already is. Monsanto, Archer Daniels, Midlands, and a few others, there's 5 of them altogether, were set up to take over and be the big agribusiness companies for the entire planet. They're in every country across the planet, doing the same things at the same time. And we've had top politicians, prime ministers, come out in Europe saying that they're going to make it, give it a complete go-ahead to be GMO, everything GMO. The United Nations, remember, the Department of Agriculture said when they were set up that their job eventually was to distribute all food across the world to every bloc. That's the US bloc, the European bloc, etc. And they said that will be used as coercion to bring down their populations. You won't get more rations if you have more populations. They'll simply reduce it. So it's used as a weapon, and the woman who was in charge of the UN at that time for that department said that food has always been used as a weapon. We've got to understand it still is, and the old ideas of freedom and being self-sufficient are under the hammer, because in an interdependent world, and what they mean by interdependence is right down to personal interdependence. It means you will be dependent on them and their system for everything you need to live.
Exactly. No more individualities, no more individual human rights, and that's why they put that in that WHO document, so that they can quarantine you, vaccinate you, and kill you if they want. That's the bottom line. Alan Watt, thank you for joining us. The website is cuttingthroughthematrix.com. Remember, the rebroadcast starts in about 90 seconds. We talked about the census GPS. We talked about the flu vaccine. We talked about the internet dying, the cyberbullying bill, the Cybersecurity Act. We talked about the Bilderberg documents that have recently leaked and admit that they created the euro, folks. All this stuff and more on the rebroadcast in about 90 seconds. If you missed any of it, we got stories at prisonplanet.tv and Infowars.com. In this last minute, I want to introduce everybody to the latest member of the Prison Planet family. There she is. She's little Jenny Justice, the pit bull of prisonplanet.tv, and I love her very much. She guards me by my side when I'm not strapped, folks, and I'm never strapped. So, again, I do my own little show, 9 to midnight, here at the GCN Network, and I hope you tune in. We're going to be covering all this and more, taking your phone calls. I'm Jason Bermas, sitting in for Alex Jones. God bless you all.